My name is Aaron DeWitt, and loneliness is often the hardest thing anyone can go through in life due to the simple fact that you don't have anyone to turn to. The movie The Batman, which came out in 2022, starring Robert Pattinson, Zoe Kravitz, and was directed by Matt Reeves, deals with this theme excellently. And in my opinion, I don't think this would have been done beautifully without Robert Pattinson's acting abilities. And I will say that Robert Pattinson is the best Batman ever in live action media. The movie starts off in a cold opening with it raining, with it being at night. You get an ominous feel. Batman is fighting these thugs, and you get a sense that he's just so has such a thick skin, such a hard shell, and he's on this quest of revenge, and this quest is just making him feel all alone. He doesn't focus on his company. He's not focusing on Alfred. He's not even focusing on his just personal things. He's not even focused on love or anything like that. The Batman is just this soldier, this one man army where he feels like can only rely on himself. And I will be giving three examples from actually the side characters of this movie as to why this is just not the path that he should be going on. I'll start off with one of the minor-ish characters, the Penguin, who is just this man of power who everyone is scared of. Not even just criminals, but it's just super, even just nice people who are terrified of him. And Batman is worried that he will become like Penguin. With me going back to the scene where he is fighting crime at the start of the movie, we see him after he fights all these thugs who are beating up this innocent man. After he fights them, the innocent man says, "Please do not hurt me." And Batman is just shocked that this is the effect that he's had after being 2 years of Batman. He realizes that he can't just be this terrifying to everyone. He only needs to be terrifying for the bad people of Gotham City. We will move on to the Riddler. The Riddler is a prime example as to why you need to limit yourself. There's a scene where he's just killing bad people. He blows up City Hall, blows up one of the city district attorneys, and Batman is trying to make sure that he stops this because Batman is not someone who is known for killing. Batman is trying to save lives, and Riddler is just trying to purge this city. He's not even bad people. He's just trying to restart this city. So Batman needs to make sure that he doesn't kill anyone, because if he does, he will never come back. He will never be the same person. We then move on to Catwoman, who is played by Zoe Kravitz. While I'm at it, I will say she's probably one of my favorite versions of Catwoman as well. But Catwoman is on a path of revenge, just like Batman in this movie. Her best friend is killed by her dad. Plot twist, by the way. And she doesn't know this until towards the third act of this movie, but she's so determined to figure out who the killer is that it's eating her up. And Batman sees all this. He sees that being someone who is vengeful, being someone who is just scary, it's not going to end up good for him. And I gotta say, Matt Reeves deals with this so great. And the way he writes Catwoman, the way he writes all these characters, to where not only do they connect to just Batman, but they also connect to his attributes as a character. Matt Reeves brilliantly wrote this movie, and if you've seen his work on Planet of the Apes, you know that he's great at character writing. Even with silly apes, he makes apes feel more like human than humans in the movie. But anyway, we now go to the man behind the mask, Robert Pattinson, who is just nails this performance. And I know what you're thinking. The man who played Edward from the Twilight, why have him play Batman? That's, it's such a weird casting choice, but Robert Pattinson nails this performance. In fact, the way he goes about dealing with this movie and any movie is that he went online to say that he will not let anyone he won't let anyone say that the actor did good, but the script was bad. No, he makes sure that his acting abilities are done so good that it's able to make the movie good as well. And you see this in this movie too. The movie isn't bad by any means at all. The movie is honestly perfect. And Robert Pattinson, while he's focused on trying to just make sure that he's he's not only acting with his voice or his skills, he's acting with his eyes. And you could call that it's just some weird acting, like some method acting, just to stand out. And you could claim it as that, but I think for playing as the Batman, it works well. Because ultimately, if you're going to be a criminal and you see Batman's whole face expression is terrified or sad, criminals are going to take advantage of that. But if you only express yourself through your eyes, it leaves you to be so mysterious and so unknown, which is just beautiful. And right now, I will talk about why he's better than all the other Batman actors right now. Okay, so Christian Bale, he has too much of a growly voice to where it's hard to understand him. And ultimately, just Christian Bale's fight sequences in that movie feel so stiff, like he does this and this, which is just, in my opinion, I think it's goofy. The writing is great. I love the writing for these movies, but just the fight sequences and the over-exaggeration of these characters, I consider it not the best type of performance out there. But again, no shame to Christian Bale as Batman at all. I love him still. He was my childhood Batman. Then, Michael Keaton's Batman. My dad is actually in the audience, and he's a big fan of him. And he kind of hates that I'm doing this speech on why Robert Pattinson is better than Michael Keaton's Batman. But I'm sorry, Dad. This is just going, wow, he's doing a little stinky face. But anyway, back to the speech. Time to get professional. I do love Michael Keaton's Batman. And I'm saying that because my dad is here. But Michael Keaton's Batman is also, again, he's not stiff with his fight, but he's just stiff with his movement. He has no neck movement, okay? He has to turn his whole body. Even if you see him in the movies, you see that, if he's looking up, he's like, oh, instead of actually just tilting his head up. A very minor critique, but I do love how Michael Keaton did lay out the groundworks for what a good superhero movie should be. Then we fast forward to Ben Affleck's Batman, which I think is character suicide. And Ben Affleck's Batman is a killer, straight up. You see him driving a Batmobile into a car, and where that car is driven by other passengers and is just torn to pieces. You tell me that those people survived? Nah, Batman is not a killer. Ben Affleck's Batman ruined the character for a good minute and made everyone have this idea that Batman is a killer. He's not. Batman is someone who needs to make sure that you can fix any problem without resorting to these extremes. You can solve any problem without having to be too extreme. You just have to know your limits. And then there's George Clooney's Batman, who has bad nipples. So I'm glad that Robert Pattinson's Batman doesn't have that. Sorry, just try to make this speech a little humorous, that way it's easier for other people to watch. Because, this is 10 minutes long, so yeah. But back to action sequences. In Robert Pattinson's Batman movie, his fight scenes are so beautifully choreographed. And again, that's thanks to Matt Reeves with his work on Planet of the Apes. His work, it definitely helped lay down the groundworks for how good of what an action scene should have. And Robert Pattinson nails it. You see it just be done so well, and the character development that he has. At the end of the film, you realize that he is someone who needs to not be this man of vengeance. He needs to be Batman. And who is Batman? Someone of hope. And this movie has had such an impact on so many fans, and even an impact on myself. Which is why Robert Pattinson is the best live action Batman ever. Thank you all for your time and have a great day. Last speech for college.